Lomond, can I ask that you listen to the following safety information? In the unlikely event of an emergency, please follow all crew instructions. On board the vessel we carry life jackets, and on the upper deck we have 3 self-inflating life rafts capable of supporting 180 passengers. During the cruise the boat may rock due to the weather or passing boats, so please be careful if you're on your seats. Could you be aware there is no smoking permitted during the cruise, and can I also ask that children remain supervised at all times. If you're looking for the toilets are located downstairs to the rear, and the bar on the lower deck will shortly be open for the sale of tea, coffee, soft drinks, beers, wines and spirits. Hope you all enjoy the cruise, thank you.
Welcome to Loch Lomond, known as the Queen of Scottish Lochs. It's the largest expanse of fresh water in Great Britain. 23 miles long, 5 miles wide, and at its deepest point at the northern end, the loch is 636 feet deep, making it the third deepest in Scotland. The River Leven, which we are now leaving, is the loch's only outlet, running from here into the River Clyde in Dumbarton, and from there into the Atlantic Ocean. The area is home to an abundance of wildlife, and its history is as rich as the landscape that surrounds these mysterious waters. It's a place where kings have trod and outlaws roamed. It has inspired writers, musicians and artists for generations. It was during the Victorian era that Loch Lomond became famous across the world, thanks in large part to the romantic novels of the likes of Tobias Smollett and Sir Walter Scott. Day trippers would travel here by train from Glasgow to cruise aboard large paddle steamers like the one we're passing on the left. This is the Maid of the Loch, the very last paddle steamer to be built in Britain. She was built in 1953 on the River Clyde in Glasgow and brought to Loch Lomond by train in sections before being assembled on the loch side. She represents those bygone days where she and many ships like her could sail the length of the loch filled with visitors. These ships also provided a valuable mail and transportation service to local communities. As with many coal and steam-powered vehicles, mounting, maintenance and running costs saw the ship retired in 1981. She now stands as a monument to both Glasgow shipbuilding and Loch Lomond's steam-powered past. The birth of the Industrial Revolution in Great Britain saw the establishment of Glasgow and the River Clyde as both the world's premier shipbuilding city and as a major shipping port between Europe and the Americas. And this saw a boom in wealth to the area in the 1800s. The trade routes, which saw Glasgow flourish, traded textiles from Europe to the Caribbean, sugar and molasses to America, and tobacco back to Glasgow. At one time, 50% of all the tobacco in Europe had arrived via Glasgow. The wealthiest of these Glasgow tobacco lords were able to live the lavish lifestyles of aristocrats, building European-style villas in Glasgow and the surrounding area. Whilst the billionaires of today buy super yachts, their equivalent in the 1800s built grand country mansions for hunting and fishing, for which the land around Loch Lomond became prime real estate. During this cruise we'll pass just a few of these houses built by these super rich tobacco barons, shipbuilders and merchant bankers. The large building we are passing on our left is Cameron House. Cameron House was built in the 18th century by the Smollett family, a family of shipbuilders and merchants, whose most famous member was the poet and novelist Tobias Smollett. Such was the wealth and influence of the Smolletts. The house has welcomed a few famous guests in its time. Former Prime Ministers Winston Churchill and Anthony Eden, as well as Empress Eugenie of France. As was the case with many ancestral homes across Britain, the costs of upkeep, staff and servants became unsustainable for the family. It was sold in 1986, and after extensive additions to the original building, Cameron House was converted into a luxury 5-star hotel and resort. The large house on the hill that you may be able to spot between the trees on the left is Auchendennan House. Auchendennan House was commissioned in 1860 by the Glasgow-based tobacco merchant George Martin and was designed by famous Scottish architect John Burnet. During the Second World War, the house was used as a convalescing home for American servicemen coming from the front. After the war, as a goodwill gesture, the house was converted into a youth hostel, thanks to a generous donation from American trade unions. The house remained a youth hostel until 2012. Today it is owned by Loch Lomond Distillery, who use it as a base for their offices. The house also marks the site of the hunting lodge of King Robert the Bruce, who owned much of the land and islands on Loch Lomond. These he used as his private hunting estate, introducing much of the deer and game birds to the islands and surrounding area. Looking between the loch's west bank on our left and across to the east bank to our far right, this is the widest part of Loch Lomond, at a distance of 5 miles. As we look ahead, you may be able to notice a line can be drawn between the hills on each shore and the islands between them. This is the Highland Boundary Fault Line, which cuts across Scotland, separating the Highlands from the Lowlands. It's a geological fault created when the islands that form Scotland crashed together 500 million years ago. It runs from Stonehaven, Aberdeenshire in the east, to the Isle of Arran in the west. The difference can also be seen in the surrounding landscape as the rolling hills and meadows of the lowlands behind us. make way to the rugged peaks of the Highlands ahead. As we cross this boundary, we'll enter into the Scottish Highlands. This fact earns Loch Lomond the title, the gateway to the Highlands. Before the Industrial Revolution of the 1800s, the meeting of these two contrasting landscapes was reflected in the meeting of two contrasting cultures. The hardier, more traditional Highland clans, and the increasingly genteel lowlanders. This melting pot situation often led to disagreements and conflict. Not far from here, behind the hills to Loch Lomond's southwestern bank on our left, lies Glen Fruin, or the Glen of Sorrow. Glen Fruin is the site of one of the most gruesome battles in Scotland's history. In 1603, a dispute between two rival clans, Cahoon and MacGregor, culminated in the two meeting for a pitched battle in the Glen. Despite being outnumbered 2-1, the hardier and more battle-experienced MacGregors managed to flank the Cahoon forces, and what began as a battle became a massacre. The story goes that for the 200 casualties the Cahoon suffered, the MacGregors lost only 2. To further demonstrate the contrasting cultures between Highland and Lowland life, the battle was observed by local students and scholars who, according to local legend, were also put to the sword. Due to the mercilessness of the MacGregors, King James VI had their clan chiefs executed and decreed that the MacGregor name was to be abolished by pain of death, a judgment that would not be lifted until 1775, 172 years later.